You can now make online payments to SLPA Clearing Pass Management System via GovPay.
Even though there is an increase in the number of tourists coming to Sri Lanka, in a situation where several issues have arisen regarding the spending ability of the foreigners we attract, does Tourism Minister Vijitha Herath, who is also the Minister of Foreign Affairs, have the time to implement a strategic plan to boost the tourism sector in the country? How many rounds of discussions have you had with the relevant officials in the sector? How much has the government earned through the tourism development levy so far? Also, how much has the government invested in branding Sri Lanka as a tourism destination?
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි මේ ප්‍රශ්නයට ප්‍රශ්නවලට පිළිතුරු දීම සඳහා සති දෙකක කාලයක් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. එක ඉන්දිය අග්‍රාමාත්‍ය නරේන්ද්‍ර මෝදි මැතිතුමා 2020
During the Indian Prime Minister's visit to Sri Lanka on April 4th and 5th, how many agreements were signed between the two nations? On which subjects were the agreements signed? Who signed these agreements on behalf of the Indian and Sri Lankan governments? What are the relevant ministries for the signed agreements? When was the approval of the Attorney General obtained to sign these agreements? Also, did the Cabinet of Ministers approve them before signing? Do you agree that it is mandatory to table these agreements in Parliament? If not, why? These agreements were signed on April 4th or April 5th. The House has continued to question these agreements. I see asking for more time to answer these questions as avoiding accountability. I am sorry to say this. Can you give me an exact date by which you will provide the answers? The reason is we have to obtain information from several ministries. After obtaining them, we will provide a complete answer.
Why has the government stopped recruiting students through the Z score of the UGC to the KDU?
There is a separate procedure followed by the KDU in recruiting students. They do not recruit students based on the Z score like other universities.
ලාංකිකයෙක් පිටරට සිට
A Sri Lankan abroad can apply to KDU and come to study. But a student from Ratmalana, Moratuwa, Colombo, Gol or Matara can't enroll. Isn't it unfair?
There is no possibility of enrolling civilian students in KDU. For that, the KDU Act must be amended. There is unrest in society regarding this issue as well. If we consider the objective of the KDU, it is to train cadet officers. That is the reason Sir John Kothalavala donated the land. It is clearly mentioned. But today, the number of cadets has gone down significantly. We propose to make the Kothalavala Defence University an international military defence university. For that, we are planning to bring in the necessary investments and amendments to the Act.
අපරාධ නඩු විධාන සංග්‍රහය සංශෝධන 50 කෙටුම්පත 3 වෙනි වර කියවා සංශෝධන සහිතව සම්මත කරන ලද බව දන්වනු කැමැත්තෙමි.
අපට ලැබුණු ප්‍රධානම ජනවරමක් තමයි දූෂණයට.
One of the main mandates we were given was to strictly enforce the law against corruption and fraud and to work against corruption and bribery, which are pressing issues in the country. We are a government that fulfills its promises to the people. But the opposition is trying to prove that we are a government that lies and cannot walk the talk. The time for your lies is coming to an end. There's a list of allegations against this government in the past 6 months. One is the issue of the 323 containers. Custom officers say that these containers should have been checked before release. Then there is the wind power plant in Mannar, and how the price of a kilogram of salt, which was 130 rupees, increased to 350 after STC imported salt and gave it to the private sector. There's also the issue of the auditing tender of Satosa. There's concerns over how the system auditing tender was awarded to the firm of the President's advisor, Duminda Hulangamua.
Honourable Presiding Member, when a government acts in a way where its actions are so gross in nature that its actions result in approving projects that ultimately is unsustainable. Unsustainable to the point where it becomes impossible for the government of the day to service that particular effort. Now, Sri Lanka's past is inundated by various governments at various times acting in such a way. And the accusations of parties in opposition as and when those governments acted in that way have in fact been that those governments of the day have been bought over by various forces, including the present NPP government's chief partner, the JVP. The question is, what are the actions that this government has taken with regards to those several projects that the government at that time blatantly accused of the government of the day of having sold out to foreign powers?